For a glimpse of the Canadian strategy, let's bring in a key player on Canada's NAFTA Advisory Council. Former Conservative leader Rona Ambrose joins us from beautiful Calgary. Rona, we've had you on this show a number of times, and you've thought Trump was nixing NAFTA, and that was just a matter of time. And then you've also said there's great progress happening. Where are you on the NAFTA Optimism Index right now?
You know, I'm confident on a few fronts. I'm confident that these new auto provisions that Trump negotiated, to his credit, with the Mexicans, and the Mexicans made these concessions. I've got to tell you, Don, I'm still wondering what the Mexicans got for those concessions, because they gave a lot in this deal with Trump. And I'm confident that he wants those auto provisions. And he's coming off what it looks like a bit of a victory for him with the Mexico deal. He's confident, he wants it. He's already talked about moving forward with a bilateral agreement. We know that that's probably not possible, and if anything, will be challenged by Congress. So I'm confident that he wants those auto provisions that he's secured with Mexico. I'm also confident that Congress is against a bilateral deal with Mexico or a deal without Canada. I'm confident that the auto unions, the labor unions, the auto workers, people that have been really weighing in, and included in that, of course, are big players in Congress that have been weighing in over the last couple of days, that they want Canada as part of this deal moving forward. So you put those things together, and there's a bit of pressure on Trump to actually bring Canada into this deal. And at the end of the day, when you look at the huge hurdles that he would have to overcome to actually secure a bilateral agreement and somehow scrap NAFTA, but at the same time bring forward this new bilateral agreement to Congress, this is a huge challenge for him. So, you know, it makes a lot of sense that we have to hash this out over the next couple of days. And yes, we'll have to make some concessions because that's the nature of negotiations, but it's in his interest to secure a deal. I think he wants a deal, and it's obviously in our interest to do the same thing.
In your view, Rona, do we have to throw the supply management system under the bus to get that deal? That sounds like that's Trump's big want.
I don't know how we don't do something on supply management. And look, I think we've got a template here. We've got some experience in this area. You know, when we were in government with Mr. Harper, and Canada negotiated on the European Union trade agreement and also the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. And we did open up access to our dairy sector for those countries. And it wasn't much. It did cost taxpayers a lot of money because we had to compensate the dairy farmers. But there is a path forward here that will keep the dairy farmers whole, which is politically important to the government, but also give Trump a win and open up that access, you know, and God forbid, opening up access might create some more opportunities for the dairy farmers to market their goods outside of Canada, and potentially actually be a benefit to consumers in terms of cheaper dairy products. So, you know, it could be a win all around. But, you know, we'll have to see what happens over the next couple of days. But I do think that overall, I think the tone is a positive one. It's a constructive one. And I do think all parties do want to come to an agreement. And, you know, I'll just go back to, you know, politicians act in their own self-interest. And I think nobody acts in their own self-interest more than Donald Trump.
Oh, that's for sure. Quick, I got to ask you, I had Jason Kenney on earlier. He says he senses a rise of separatist sentiment, and he's vowing to hold a referendum on equalization. He says the province is on fire over this Trans Mountain Court ruling. Is that the mood there? Is it rebellious enough that we could actually see a threat of the separatist rise in Alberta again?
Well, I think, you know, I think to his credit, Jason Kenney captures enough of that sentiment of wanting to push back on what Ottawa has done in terms of whether it's the carbon tax or overregulation, the clean fuel standard, which is an assault on the oil and gas industry that's right now coming through this province, the scrapping of the NEB process and the creation of a completely incomprehensible large oil and gas project assessment process that the Bill C-69 that's going to be going through the Senate. I mean, all of these things put together, you know, Jason has a real sense of what that means for the province. So I think he's capturing that sentiment. And let me tell you, it is strong. When that court decision came down, Don, you could just feel the anxiety and the frustration of, and that has turned into anger. And it's very real because, there was just that sense that, okay, we're going to do it all over again, but this time we're going to get it right. And no company has done their job better, and everyone feels that way in the industry, than Ian Anderson and Kinder Morgan. They went to nth degree to do the consultations the way they were supposed to. The government said they did their job, and lo and behold, a unanimous decision by the appeal court. I mean, remember, Gateway wasn't even a unanimous decision by the appeal court. Unanimously said, no, you didn't do enough. You got to go back and do it again.
Okay, got to leave it there. Rona Ambrose,
really
always a pleasure.
Tough,
Thank you.
Tough decision. Nice
All
to
right.
talk
Thanks,
to you, Don.
Rona.